Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Kindly comment your name sa 6 kabuok na nakalagay na to affirm your attendance. Is my voice clear? Uh, Ray Aban, maklaro ba po ang tingog? Kindly comment here. Miss Dakyo and Vidal, Bahan. Klaro ba ako ang tingog? Dili. Loud and clear. So thank you, Arlene. Kabasa Arlene. Okay, so we will start. Para dili mausik ang time at makauli mo sa'yo. So chapter 6 entitled The Modifiers of Human Acts. We have here five modifiers sa part number 1. Kaya ang part number 2, dito makita nato ang number 6 paingon sa number 10. So ano sa ang tauna sa part 1? So we have here the first modifier, ignorance. Second modifier, passion. Third modifier, fear. Fourth, violence. And lastly, ang ikalimang modifier of human acts sa part 1 is habit. So let's start with the learning outcomes. So we have here 15 learning outcomes. But I will not read tanan ani. So kamo ang magbasa sa inyong free time. Anihang learning outcomes. Ako alang basahon ani is ang number 15, which is apply the knowledge in real world situation. So kung sa inyong natun-an sa anihang chapter, dapat ninyong i-apply sa real world situations. Particularly na sa inyong mga matag-usa na kinabuhi. Okay? So you read the rest, number 1 to number 14, on your own free time. So let's start with the chapter code. Our objectives, the situations we find ourselves in, and the results we produce all have an impact on the essence of what we do and how our character is built. So what does this quote emphasize? So it emphasizes the interconnectedness of our goals, the context we navigate, and the outcomes we achieve in shaping our character. It suggests that our actions, driven by our objectives, are not isolated events but integral components of our character development. It underscores the idea that our choices and the circumstances we engage with contribute to the fundamental nature of who we are. It also implies that the alignment of our goals with ethical considerations and a thoughtful consideration of the situations we encounter play a crucial role in molding our character. Ultimately, the outcomes we produce serve as reflections of our values and principles influencing the overall construction of our character over time. So that's the interpretation of our chapter code. So let's move on to the main topic, modifiers of human acts, part 1. So we have the first modifier, which is ignorance, and it has four types. So we have four types of ignorance. So first, we have simple ignorance. This type of ignorance refers to a lack of knowledge or awareness regarding a specific moral issue or circumstance. It occurs when a person is unaware of the moral principles or ethical concerns pertinent to a certain situation. Someone, for example, may be oblivious of the environmental effects of their behavior because they have not been exposed to climate change. Talking about climate change, we have another example. Okay, snow. Sa man ang snow, na batay experience kung unsa ang snow. So we are ignorant of snow although we know the idea of the snow pero wala kita naka-experience kung unsa gyud ang snow. Kita na nato siya sa mga movies, sa mga teleserye, internet, makita nato sa atong YouTube kung unsa ang snow. Pero I think all of us wala pa ta nag-experience gid kung unsa ang snow. Lahi to nang nasa kuan, ref na to, kaya nasa fridge. Dili na siya snow, ice na siya ice. Okay? So first, second type of ignorance, we have invincible ignorance. It happens when a person lacks knowledge or information despite making reasonable efforts to gain it. So in other words, the person is not to blame for their ignorance because they have done everything possible to become aware. Pero wala gid nila makuha. So in terms of ethics, this form of ignorance may reduce moral responsibility to some level. So for example, while attempting to stay up with legal developments, a person may unwittingly violate a law because they were ignorant of recent modifications to it. So one example aning mga balaod nga ga-change or nag-utro or na-modify is katong panahon sa COVID. Okay? If ikaw ga-travel ka outside sa Camiguin or pabalik sa Camiguin or kung tourist ka, then wala ka kabalo sa unsa ang mga balaod regarding sa pag-in ug out sa island kay wala ka naka-update, so that is considered as invincible ignorance. Okay, pero na kay means para ma-update ka. So basa na po ka sa bag-o na po nga modification sa balaod regarding sa atong COVID-19 mga protocols. Okay, so next we have conquerable ignorance. It occurs when an individual lacks knowledge or information as a result of their own negligence or unwillingness to make reasonable steps to become informed. This form of ignorance does not reduce moral responsibility because the individual could have prevented it with greater attention. For example, if a person avoids reading about the ethical implications of their business operations in order to maintain plausible deniability, they are demonstrating comparable ignorance. Another example is katong mag-oral ko while nagbutan ako daan sa unsa ang topic sa inyong GC regarding sa unsa atong i-oral, pero moingon ang student nga wala sila naka-study. So comparable na siya, pwede na siya ma-change. Okay? So unsa ang pag-change? So mag-study kung unsa ang naasa or unsa ang giingon nga studyhan. Okay? Next, we have affected ignorance, also known as willful ignorance. From the word willful, it arises when a person chooses to remain ignorant. So, gipili gid niya nga maignorante siya about a topic while having access to information. So, gipili gid niya nga magpa-ignorante bisan na siya means to acquire the said knowledge. Okay, iyaging gi-choose. So that's what we call affected ignorance. So we have here an example. Suppose you are aware some clothing manufacturers use child labor in their manufacturing processes. but you chose not to research whether your favorite brand does as well. So your purposeful decision not to investigate the topic exemplifies affected ignorance. That's another example. Okay, so next we have passion. Again, we have three types of passion mentioned in this chapter. So first we have concupiscible passions, irascible passions, and then sensible passions. So first, what is concupiscible passions? So these are passions, a set of emotions related to our needs and appetites. These passions have a huge impact on our actions and decision making, even when it comes to pursuing what we find appealing or avoiding what we believe to be dangerous or undesirable. So we have three primary concupiscible passions. We have love, hate, and desire. So first, love is a strong and positive emotion that draws us to something we think good, appealing, or useful. It can be the affection we feel for our family and friends, romantic love for a partner, or even love for an interest or a cause. Kung na kay passion for cars, love na siyang gitawag sa pauban mga passion. Naghana sila. Ang ako is ang collection of foreign and old coins. Wala siya akong passion. So, under siya sa love. Next, we have hate. Uh, Hate is a negative emotion that drives us away from what we consider to be harmful, unpleasant, or dangerous. It might be a strong dislike for a person or katong dili nimo ganahan nga tao, imo baghaan ning kaaway, or kakompetensya, takabalo, hapit na rawa ang February 14, na sa NBI, ay kuan niya, na ay sila, katulo, takabalo. So, assume you have an intense hatred for bullying. Example lang na siya. And when you watch someone being abused or being bullied, you feel an extreme hate for the act of bullying and a strong desire to put an end to it. So hatred can inspire us to act against injustice and cruelty in the world. And next we have desire. So desire is a passion that occurs when we long for or wish to acquire something that we find appealing. So, desire ninyo nga mo graduate, so it is something appealing nga makagraduate ka. Okay? It could be a tangible property also, meaning sa pagkain mga tangible property, bago nga cellphone, nga na, bago nga iPhone, bago nga tablet, so nga na, bago nga motor, bago nga sakyanan, tangible property, meaning makabtan. So, desire na nimo nga makuha in time. We also have social rank or status nimo sa society. Naba ka sa pinakaubos, sa middle, or na sa taas. Depende na siya. Social rank. Or even a personal accomplishment. So, sa may example sa mga personal accomplishments, we can say also nga personal accomplishment nimo nga nakagraduate ka sa elementary, high school, and soon sa college. After that, master's degree na dayan. Okay? So that's the three types of concupiscible passions. Next, we have irascible passions. So irascible passions are a set of emotions that govern how we react to challenges and unpleasant situations. They have an important part in how we deal with hardship and can have considerable impact on our moral decision making. So we have three types of irascible passions. We have hope, despair, and courage. So hope It is a good and optimistic emotion that occurs when we wish and anticipate a happy outcome in the midst of difficulties or uncertainties. It is the belief that things will improve or that we will be able to overcome adversity. So hope, if na kay problem, hope may mga masolba ang imong problem within the day. Okay? So next we have despair. It is a negative emotion that arises when we feel overwhelmed and hopeless in the face of hardship. It's the sense of giving up or that things will never get better. So feeling nimo nga dili na gid ka kuan sa imong kinabuhi pero di na i-improve. So na siya, ma-despair na din ka. So another example here, if you have a string of failures and setbacks in your job ambitions, failure po sa inyong pag-eskwela, you may experience despair and believe that success is unattainable. Labi na kung bagsak-bagsak ikas mo mga grado sa college. Na-experience mo ang despair. And then success ko no is unattainable. So, kaunsa madaling despair. So, despair can be paralyzing and demotivating, leading to inactivity and retreat from pursuing one's objectives. Meaning, dili na kaganahan maglihok sa unsang imong goal in life. Kay kaka-experience na ka permanente of failures. Okay? So next, courage. Courage is a powerful virtue that involves confronting obstacles, even when they are accompanied by fear or danger. So it is the ability to act bravely and do what is right despite the risk involved sa ana nga actions nga imong gihimo. Okay, so you must have courage sa imong kinabuhi. So courage is required in numerous areas in life, including pursuing personal growth, speaking up for justice, and facing difficult decisions with integrity. And lastly, under passions, we have sensible passions. Again, we have three types of sensible passions. We have joy, sadness, and anger. Again, joy is a positive, happy sensation that arises when we encounter something delightful, delicious, or gratifying. So kung makita nimo imong crush, happy ka, so joy, positive emotion. Then sadness, parang siyang opposite sa joy. It is a negative feeling that arises as a result of a loss or kung namatyan baka ka sa imong family member or loved one, so masad ka. Disappointment, disappointed ka kay wala ka nakapasar sa quiz or sa midterm exam or sa final exam. Masad din ka. So that's disappointment. And also we have here discontent or discontento ka sa imong kinabuhi. Gusto nimo nga kung unsay naa sa uban naapit sa imo pero dili gid nimo makuha. So discontented ka. So that will bring you sadness. So it's better to be contented with what we have. Okay? And then lastly, we have anger. Anger is a strong and intense feeling that occurs when we are provoked, intimidated, or treated unfairly. So, panus amang ka tayo masuko when you are being treated unfairly, intimidated ka, again then i-provoke ka, then ka sabay pa na makakos sa imo of anger. So we have here an example, witnessing someone being mistreated or experiencing discrimination can cause rage or anger. Anger can be motivating force for taking action and addressing injustices, but it also requires emotional management in order to avoid damaging or aggressive behaviors. And then next modifier, we have fear. So we have three types of fear: servile fear, filial fear and initial fear. So unsa may kalainan aning tulo ka fears? So first we have servile fear. So it is a type of fear caused by the threat of punishment or damage. So unsa may pasabot ani? Nahadlok daw ka kay na ay threat of punishment. So for example, di ka mangawat kay ngano, kabalo ka kung madakpan ka, mapriso ka. And then there's a big possibility na kung madakpan ka before ka i-surrender sa authority, makulatahan pa ka una sa mga tao. So you have that fear. So we call that servile fear. Next, we have filial fear, often referred to as a reverential fear. It is a fear that arises from love and respect for authority or a higher force. It is the fear of upsetting or acting against the will of someone or something highly regarded. So we have here another example. A religious individual may avoid dishonesty out of filial fear of offending their deity or divine figure, or sa kanang mga priest or sa ilang religious leaders. Di ba, mahadlok ka na ma-offend sila. Yuko-yuko ka na mulabay sa ila, dili sila ma-offend sa ilang actions. Also, we can also call the fear of God as filial fear because God is an authority or higher force than us. So fear from God is considered as filial fear. Next, we have initial fear. Initial fear is a normal hesitation or worry that emerges before completing a morally significant action. So, daghan maka-experience ani nga mga students. Labi na kung mag-oral ang inyong instructors or professors. Okay, so wala pa gali natawag ang ilang ngalan, na sila fear. Mahadlok na sila tindog. So that's what we call initial fear. So wala pa nabuhat na nakay kahadlok. Okay? Next, modifier, we have violence. Again, there are three types of violence mentioned here. Physical violence, verbal violence, and psychological violence. So physical violence, I mean. Physical violence is defined as the use of force, compulsion, or aggressiveness to cause harm or injury to another person or living entity. So for example, manumbag ka sa imong amigo or sa imong kaaway or laparohon ba ka nimo imong sipaon. So that what we call physical violence. Kanang manglabay lang kakalit sa mga iro mga nasa dalan, mga iring, yan na. So that's what we call physical violence. Kaya under man sila sa living entity. Gamitan pa rin more force. Physical violence. Okay na. Next, we have verbal violence. So it is the use of abusive language, threats, or intimidation to inflict emotional or mental harm to another person. So, some example, we have here name calling. So what is name calling? Ang tawag kong kag putot, pislat og ilong, itom og ilok, saka mas mga uban na name calling. Ika-experience ninyo. So, mga siya, consider na siya as verbal violence. We also have insults, humiliation, and relentless criticism are examples of verbal violence. And then we have psychological violence. So this extends beyond verbal aggression to include a broader variety of damaging acts that attacks a person's feeling, self-worth, and mental well-being. So psychological gid siya kay mental well-being naman ang gakaapektuhan. Dili nga mo abot ang atong depression. Ma-depress ka, so there's a possibility nga mag-commit og suicide. So that's psychological violence. can do no good to everyone. So lastly, modifier number 5, we have habit. So under here, we also mention good habit, bad habit, and mixed habit. So para ma-cut short, ito dito pa dito sa good habit. So unsa man yung mga good habit? So good habit is sometimes called as virtue. It is a constant positive behavioral characteristic that encourages someone to regularly act morally and make moral decisions. So over time, virtues are cultivated by a person's repeated good deeds and become embedded in their personality. So as mentioned in the previous chapter, chapter number 5, na to, itong habit. Itong habit are patterns of behavior that we form through time as a result of repeated acts. Dili na siya kinahanglan hunaw-naon. Automatic ni mga buhaton. So that is habit. Ay good habit na po'y bad habit. So ano na punta sa bad habit? So bad habit, we can also call this as vice or katong mga bisyo. It is a consistent, unfavorable disposition or character feature that leads someone to consistently act immorally and make bad decisions. Opposite siya sa good habit. Bad behaviors can be damaging to yourself or to another. And then next we have mixed habit. But before we continue, ito ka sa second attendance. Kaya nagamay naman. Okay, kindly comment your name sa ato chat box for your second attendance. Kaya ato siyang tanawon if naba ganina sa first attendance o naba sa second attendance. Kaya gatawa na ang participation sa lecture. Okay, last, mixed habit. So it is a blend of uh, positive or good habit and bad habit or harmful habits. So we have here an example na wala na mag-mention sa ato ang chapter. So for example, naay tao nga everyday ga-exercise. It's either ga-walking siya or ga-bike or ga-jogging, but, but at the same time, ga-panigarilyo siya. So combination of the two. Good habit kay ga-exercise siya, stay healthy, but at the same time, bad habit kay ga-panigarilyo man siya while ga-jogging or ga-bike or after ga-jogging or ga-bike. So that's the 5 modifiers, the first 5 modifiers of human acts. So let me just read the conclusion sa anihang part 1 sa anihang modifiers of human acts. So the modifiers of human acts examined in this chapter highlight the complex interplay between personal activity and ethical issues. Ignorance, passion, fear, violence, and habit are all crucial variables in determining the morality of human behavior. Each modifier adds a unique dimension to the ethical landscapes, altering the assessment of an individual's accountability for their actions. That's part 1 of the modifiers of human acts. Again, katong chapter 5 activity, deadline. Ano sa akong gihatag nga deadline? Wednesday. Mhm. HUNA. Okay, I think Wednesday ako giingon, if I can remember well. Pero pwede ra po mo mag-pass na. Pero pinaka-last mag-pass will be Wednesday. Okay? So that is it. Thank you for participating sa atong online class. I will see you Wednesday. Okay? Ulat lang ta sa official memorandum sa college if cancel ba ang klase or dili. Okay? Kay basin half day ra sa buntag ra hapon ato klase. So maka-quiz pa ta ana. Okay? So thank you for your participation and God bless. Live stream has ended.